final topic for tonight is the things that we would like to see in the game. Now, we're not talking about changes to current content. We're talking about features from other MMOs or other games that we really liked that are not in this game that we think that would help benefit this game. I will kick off because my take, I think, is the hottest take. Not really the hottest take, but the best take when it comes to housing. I still stand by that. Housing, your first house should have been the Scions of the Dawn. That was your house. It was an instance housing that you could have gone into. It would unlock gardening for everybody because that's the one big thing that's locked. You could do submarines, you could do ships. Those are all locked behind FC housing, and it's only if your FC allows you to do it, right? Because you can lock out those portions as an FC leader. I think it's a huge lockout for the game. I think it affects the market board and the fact that, like, if I make onions for your chocobo, that is locked behind gardening. If I don't have access to gardening, then I have to pay for those. I think it was a really hot miss for them to not just do FC housing for FCs and then have your own personal housing that if you're the party lead, in the same way, I don't want to dive too much into this, but in the same way that Island Sanctuary is, where you can go into other people's house and see what's there, right? They can decorate their house however they want to. You can set it up the way you want to, but they still get access to things like gardening. They still get access to things like ships. They still get access to things like decorating, but it's not locked behind, hey, you're part of this lotto system and there's only a certain amount of spots that can utilize it. Too bad, so sad, right? I mean, that's my big, like, I've been pitching this forever, and I hope Square's watching because it would be cool to do the Scion's house as an instance housing in Dawntrail. That would be. It
would be a cool thing to do, like after you finish ARR and like into Heaven, or maybe you'd have to beat Heaven's Word first, and then it's just a quest you pick up from Riange, and then it becomes like essentially like an island, like the Island Sanctuary, but it's unlockable in Heaven's Word instead of all the way at the end of Endwalker.
Right. Right. And I think until they put gardening into Island Sanctuary, which who knows, I think gardening will be something that will be forever locked. I can live without ships. I can live without airships and boats. Like, that's something I can live without. There is some stuff that would be nice to have off of those ship quests and whatnot. But I think gardening is so, like, the gardening in this game is so strong from like a perspective of like being able to crossbreed, and crossbreeds create new plants, and the plants can then be crossbreeded again. Like, it's very complex and very like fun and cool, but it's locked. Like Wraith just went like, whoa, what? I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I didn't even know the crossbreeding thing. I've been using Square.
There's gardening. Oh wait, there's gardening. Like, yeah. Dude,
so smalls can have an 8 plot. Mediums can have 2 8 plots, and larges can have 3 8 plots. And there are ways to get, so your chocobo. I know the chocobo for you is a very difficult thing to bring out. It's a break of immersion.
It is.
It's fine. The chocobo can be leveled up to level 20. After level 10, you have to start using Thavnarian onions to be able to bump its cap to the next level. So you get to level 10, you give it an onion, it gives it the ability to level to 11, but you have to go through its XP progression. And then each level up until level 20 gives you have to use an onion for each of those levels. The game gives you one as part of the side questing. So if you do all the side quests, you get, I think, 1, but then you have to pay for them, and they're like 100k on average per in each of the worlds is generally where they sit, is about 100k.
Gotcha.
It's just it's dumb in my opinion. I think it's a break in the system where, like, here's the super fun thing with chocobos that you can do, but you can't do it unless you have gardening or you pay for it off the market board, and I think it's a miss.
I do like Alex's point too. Make houses 1 per service account. I like that.
Like I said, if you do instance housing, I would guarantee that you have a lot of people who don't care enough about getting their own personal house outside of outside of that one instance housing, because they get gardening, and they wouldn't have to worry about being a part of an FC that would give them access to ships and boats. And then you just make the instance housing, or you make the current housing system into FC only, right? And then it builds a community, right? You get a room in your FC house. You have your own personal house that you can decorate. I think it creates a better overall system, and it would solve a lot of the problems that people are like, I can't get a house, this is dumb. Like,
yeah, I think instance housing in general, like from what I've seen across the board, works really well. Like I think ESO does that, where it's like you just buy a house
and you become part of
real
whatever instance
money.
ward. Yeah, instance ward, and then you just go to it, and there's no timer. Like they could get rid of the destruction system, you know, because it wouldn't need to be there. I mean, maybe for FC housing, but your personal housing wouldn't need to worry about being destroyed.
RuneScape housing,
I mean, Guild Wars housing was really cool. Original Guild Wars, if nobody played original Guild Wars, your guild housing was also half of the arena for guild versus guild battles. So you had your area for all of your merchants and stuff, and it was an instance, right? You go into it, and then when you paired up to do a fight with another guild, your instances were bound together. So like half of it would be their FC house, and half of it would be your guild house, and half of it their guild house, and you'd have an arena where you could fight in the middle that was bound together. I thought was really cool. It was a really good way of doing it. Gibles, you got anything?
Okay, yeah. So that on that, well, one I wanted to tell you, they've talked about adding the airship and the submarine to personals.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So that has been something that they have mentioned doing. And then so now on to my thing. We've been talking about what I want to add to the game. I actually made a YouTube video about this. That was same video we mentioned earlier about how I hated Eureka, and I think this would be something really cool. I mean, I kind of have two things, but first thing, I mentioned adding this to exploration zones, and if you've played ESO, delves, something, an overworld-esque dungeon. You don't sink into it. It's not instanced. It's you can attach like daily quests to it, something like that. I think that would be a really cool thing, and it would liven up certain areas you could explore into, right? And something else to do besides fate grinding every freaking thing in this game. But
delves are good.
Huh?
I think delves are really good. Yeah, like they work in ESO very well.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need to put the sky shard at the end, right? You don't need to lock a progression behind it, but you can put something in there and create like some aspect where you can go in with a party or solo, and it's a fun little overworld dungeon. And I think the place it belongs is in exploration zones, in like the next one. The thing I want to add outside that is I want 4-man extremes. I want them to make like Unreals using final bosses from dungeons. Like give me Fenrir, give me Mistbeard, I'm trying to think of other final bosses from 4-mans right now.
There was a call to do, in the same vein, there was a call to do Savage 24-mans. Like taking the 24-mans and doing a normal and savage version of the 24-mans. I think that would be fun and cool. I think my problem with doing a savage 24-man is you get into the vein of the bigger WoW 24-man raids where it's like, oh, you got to do the harder content stuff, and I think it would be good if it was done correctly, right? I mean, I think everything is good if you do it correctly.
I feel like a lot of people, when they hear that, are going to tell you, well, we got Arsenal, we got DR.
Yeah, it's a logistical nightmare. That's true. I mean, that was the thing, is like DR Savage was already really difficult to get groups for. But I think you would see more communities built around 24-man Savage things if it was there. Right now, it's not. It's just content that you could do. It's easy, right? Or it's easy enough.
We'll talk about logistical nightmare. Adding voice acting to ARR. I'm just saying, you want new people to be a little bit like, I don't care if it's of GoFundMe that they throw up somewhere. I'll contribute to that. Like, nothing turns people off in modern MMOs. Like, you have New World doing it, you have ESO doing it, where every single bit of dialogue is voice acted. Side content.
Well, I like the Shadowbringers with a lot more voice acting starting to happen.
Yeah,
it's a lot better, but it still needs to be like, they just need to go the extra mile, put it 100%.
It gets better and it gets more.
To
pull a little bit from
for
chat.
MSQ.
So I agree with this one. The transmog system from WoW. So if you're unfamiliar with the transmog system from WoW, the way that it works is the moment you touch a piece of content or don it on your body as a piece of content that you wear, it then becomes something that you can transmog or glamour into any piece that you have from then on. It's basically a big book of unlock. Yeah, and it basically gives you like essentially a walk-in closet type of deal in the way that Blackboard is saying, where the moment you touch something, you then have the ability to glamour it to something, and you're not having to worry about stashing it in your glamour chest or stashing it at the armoire chest. It's just a part of like what you have access to, and then just being able to have like a tile that just says it's this one, and you tie it back to your class.
So my inventory is awful.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the problem, right? I mean, if you put on a piece of armor, if I told you tomorrow that you could put on a piece of armor and then throw it away because you'd have access to glamour it later, how much more space in your armory, in your inventory would there be?
A lot.
Exactly. I've seen the unopened chests that you have.
So many
So
pieces.
many. The other one that was brought in was changing the currency for the fates to the accepted bicolored gemstones that we have in all of them, and changing all the rewards to those as well. So Wraith, you're going to be getting into these soon, but all fates in Shadowbringers and in Endwalker, there's like a fate grinding system that you can build up. But all the fates give what's called bicolored gemstones, and those bicolored gemstones are usable across Shadowbringers and Endwalker, so you can get them in Shadowbringers and still spend them in Endwalker. But it's one currency, so it's basically the poetics of fate grinding. So being able to bring those back to the old content, so that it would bring those, like it would make people do fates in the old content.
Yeah, Alex. As much as I hate like everything being fate grind, I love the bicolor gemstone system.
Yep, and I think it would be good if they would go back and do it the other, like they would get rid of the Centrino seals and the whatever it is. If they got rid of it and they went back and just made it all bicolor gemstones and made all the rewards bicolor gemstones, I think you would see a lot more people grinding those older fates areas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I also like Blackmore's comment over here: a walk-in closet and housing.
Yep.
For like your glamour chest, how you address your glamour and stuff like that. Because I mean, like they already have that design. Just make it like the exact same thing as when you call the esthetician.
Yep.
But now you have your glamour dresser, and you can spin your character around now, and you can just let you swap the gear. So you can actually see it instead of a little tiny window.
I will say the one thing I really like, they did add the ability to be able to see what your character looks like in Mog Station gear. So any of the costumes that you would buy from the Mog Station, you can go to your in room and you can wear them and look at what they would look like on your character before you buy them. So before it was just they might look good, it might be fine. Now you can actually go in and say, oh, this item looks like this on my character. Okay, I'm okay with that. And then go to the store and buy it.
Hey, I really like the way this outfit looks. Oh, it's all one piece.
Right. Yeah, and Yoshi P was against it at first because he felt like, I'm not really sure what his back end, pushbacks were, but I think it's, I think some kind of the glamour system needs to be updated, whether they give us more plates. We know that they can do it. They just did it with gear sets. They just gave us 100 gear sets this last time round. There's no reason why they can't expand glamour to give us the same. Because we don't even have enough glamour plates right now to give one per class. So those of us who do, if you get to the crafting and gathering, if you do the crafting and gathering relics to get the shiny crafting and gathering tools, some of us, like I will meld or I will glamour my relics onto my tools. So I have to go in and use each of them uses a glamour prism to be able to meld them back if I change them into whatever the current. Whatever the
then you have to keep the tool available too, instead of
you have to keep it stashed somewhere because it's a mess and they need to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see more Final Fantasy VII content added into the game. God damn it! Give it to me, please.
P, if you're there, please bust your sword, please.
Sephiroth trial. I don't know.
We just want our Dark Knights to be able to wield a giant sword like Cloud.
Sephiroth solo trial. Make it Kingdom Hearts 2 Sephiroth fight.
Oh my god,
14.
no.
Dude, I'd have to change more than just my pants if they added that. Kingdom Hearts 2 Sephiroth fight. Oh,
I had an argument with one person, or they were saying like, "Oh yeah, Sephiroth is so much harder in Kingdom Hearts 2," and I was like, "You take that back."
Yeah.
He is
compared to
so
one?
hard
Impossible
in Kingdom Hearts 1.
oh my god, yeah.
They were saying the fight in 2
so
is
hard.
harder than the Platinum Challenge, and I was like, "No."
No,
I don't want to
you
forget.
have more tools.
I don't
you have way
wanna
more
forget,
tools in 2. Yeah.
Noble did make a comment of wanting to make it so that retainers and personal inventory were all connected. I would dare say that maybe not connected, but being able to, when you DC travel, being able to have access to your retainers, even if it means pulling their gear that they're selling off of the market board in order to make that happen. I think that's just a repercussion of traveling that you have to deal with, and that's fine. On the same vein, I know that they've talked about it at the last at the US live letter, at the one in Vegas at the post interviews. I would really like for them to open up DC travel to for if I'm in NA, I can go to EU, I can go to JP. I know that they have reservations on doing this because of cultural differences. So Wraith, I don't know if you know this, when you Savage Raid in JP, it's not really a thing as much. There's not really a lot of differences between the EU side and the NA side when it comes to like raiding and whatnot. Everybody kind of does the same thing. In the JP side, you party finder strictly to learn the fight, and once you learn the fight, you actually queue for it. So like you queue through duty finder. So that's the biggest difference, right? So right now, everybody party finder in NA, everybody party finders their clears. Like you party finder out that you're looking for uncleared people who have uncleared because of lockouts for the week. In JP, you and the number one thing that we tell new players is never queue for EXs, never queue for savages, right? It's something we just tell people not to do as like a wait in queue for. In JP, they do it. That's how they do it. You get your clears every week by just jumping into duty finder and queuing yourself up for the fight as a solo or your group of friends, and they throw a bunch of macros out of what the strats are that they're going to be doing, and
text chat is big in JP.
Then you just go. Yeah, the text chat is huge in JP. Like the macros are like literally everything you're going to see in the fight. Noble says that NPC team that can take you to dungeons or whatnot allow us to change into the NPC to FF characters we like the bland mage NPC, allow us to change them into Vivi or Lulu, so on and so forth, just for pure aesthetics and memories. Yeah, that would be cool, like being able to like change yourself into old Final Fantasy characters. So like at Halloween time they had that guy you could change into other 14 characters. They wanted to do it so that they could do it. But
I think a Lulu-esque character would be a really cool caster to have in the game.
Yep.
Uses a puppet for like their casting and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know mixing the NA, EU, and JP environments would be a logistical nightmare. I am fully aware that those would be very dangerous things to do, but there are a lot of EU characters, a lot of EU players that would want to play with NA, and NAK players who would want to play with EU, and having to create a character and go through that whole thing over again when your whole montage of the game is one character does everything, it just feels bad, right? I mean, I get like DC, like they've already said that they can do it. Like they've already been very open about the fact that they can do it, and that they're just kind of in a reservation state of whether they want to push it through or not. But I think at least EU and Oceanic need to be able to come to NA or go to EU or Oceanic. I think those are the big ones that I think that would benefit from opening up cross region DC travel.
Yeah, I mean a lot of Oceania players already come to NA anyways.
Right.
That's what I think.
Even just make it NA and EU.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot. I think cloud servers can help with a lot that we didn't mention earlier. Is people in places that don't have a data center. Like I know there's a lot of South American players who are like really excited for cloud servers because they're not supported at all.
right? Because they don't have anything in their area. But if they were to pick up a cloud service in that area, then they would be able to start playing and get better ping and not have to feel like they're being shafted. I know that's kind of like the late push with the Oceanic was like, but I have the Australian players were either EU or NA, a lot of them NA, and then it was, oh well, all of my friends, I've made all these friends here that if I choose to go to Oceanic now, I'm gonna be out, right? I have to leave them behind, and so like I have a lot of friends who saw the Australian servers and were just like, nah, not for me, like it's just not for me, but yeah.
Hey, don't worry, we'll get Xbox players soon.
Oh man, my hot take on Xbox players. All right, I think we talked about this a little bit last week. I think that those who wanted to play Final Fantasy, who truly wanted to play Final Fantasy XIV, have already gotten the game in some fashion or form. We're 10 years in, and like, and I just think it was like, I think it's I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I think it's a little too late to have them come this late into the game, right? I think it's just a lot for them to come into. It's that whole like 4 expansions thing. Yeah, there's a free trial. They could play through the free trial, but I think anybody who truly wanted to play the game either figured out to play it on PC or when the console generation flipped from Xbox One to Xbox, whatever the new Xbox is, that they flipped over to PlayStation and got it on PlayStation and ran with it.
Well, I don't know. I like some people might not be in the situation to be able to do so, because I remember there was somebody who came into my chat, like I think it was back during as far back as Coils, who was like, hey, I just saw the announcement, it's coming to Xbox, really excited for that because I like all the other ones. Finally I get a chance to play that. So I think there's definitely going to be a market for it. I don't expect it to be very big of a market.
Right. That's what I mean. I just don't think it's
of like what you mean.
Yeah, they're saying.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I think also Xbox tends to be like have its own sort of
right
Xbox community of people.
Yeah, Blackmore. I don't see the sub being on Game Pass, but you still have to buy the base game.
I don't even see the base game being on Xbox. I think you would lose a huge community of people if the game was free on Xbox Game Pass. I think that would be a huge slap in the face to Sony and what Sony has done for Square in the last X number of years. I just don't think it's a good position to put themselves in.
I can see that. Yeah.
I think the joke I made when I heard Xbox was being announced was
fantasy tokens.
No, no. They've done so much to try to get rid of the RMT. I do not want to bring RMT into this game. Thank you. No. Big no. I think that the big thing the joke that I made was like, oh, Xbox players, now I get to hear everybody talk about how they want to do my mom. Because again, that whole like Xbox is very sports and FPS based, where it's like, caption moments of being killed and being like, oh, I can do your mom.
Yeah, no, it'd be an interesting thing if they did do that, because I remember with like there was a while before Bungie got bought by Sony where they had on Game Pass like all the expansions for Destiny 2 were through Game Pass for an extended period of time, and then that deal with Sony went through. So it was like, oh yeah, all those expansions are gone now. So people who played exclusively through Xbox were kind of getting shafted by that deal. Like, oh, I've put so much time into, like, I've had basically a subscription to Xbox and Destiny, and now I just can't have that anymore. I have to like buy every single piece of content for the game instead now.
Alex, I don't ever see that happening for 2 reasons. One, I think that Sony would make a play on Square. Yeah. So the comment was the meme on Microsoft trying to buy Square Enix. I don't think they have the capital to buy Square Enix. I think Square Enix is strong enough that they would command a ridiculous price to take over. I don't think that Sony would sit there and sit there lying there and let that happen. I think that there would be a better chance of Sony buying Square before Microsoft buys Square. I think Microsoft is going to find they're going to spend a lot of money to try to clean up the Activision Blizzard thing that they just picked up. A lot more than they I think originally expected.
I don't know though, like with how big of a flop Starfield was, and then also the mess of Activision, the current state of Activision Blizzard. Like I could, FF16 sales were not great. They were good, but not great. So I think maybe some of that exclusivity with Sony might be kind of riding on FF7 Rebirth a little bit, maybe.
Well, I think
just because
they did say that
I was going to say 16 is coming to PC. I don't know if it's coming to Xbox, but I know it's coming to PC.
Yeah, it's only PC. Yeah. But still, like the sales were with just like people aren't just buying PS5s just to play 16 like they thought they were going to be. So I think that might be, depending on, let's say, how 7 Rebirth comes and sells and stuff, we might see a possibility of Xbox trying to snatch up Square too. But I think because they're both Japanese companies, I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's a little bit of, and not to mention history.
Right, they have history together. They've gone through the moments of scratching each other's backs and helping each other. I think. While I can appreciate bringing new players into the Final Fantasy universe, I did find that the timing was a little odd, given that it was like the same month that the FCC court case had kind of been finalized, that they were announcing that 14 was coming to Xbox, and I was like, given what Sony has done for you, I feel like you should have given this a little bit more time and maybe announced it at EU FanFest and not at NA FanFest.
Phil Spencer is going to be like the next Savage Tier raid boss.
That's right. He looked, I have to tell you, he looked so excited to be on that stage with Yoshi P to talk about. Super excited, guys.
We're making jokes that he looked like Donald Trump the way he was talking on my stream. I'm so excited to be here, guys. The most excited I've ever been.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for this for years. It's been years in the making. I swear we've been talking behind the curtain there. It's been years. We've wanted them. They wanted us. It's been a mutual of wanting each other.
Let me tell you, I'm the best deal maker. I've made the greatest deal with Square.
Square's also been known to nix on some projects that people were very excited about. I know there was a mobile version of 11 that was supposed to come out that got nixed.
Versus 13.
Yeah, Versus 13 is a hot button subject. I mean, there's stuff on the other side too. Like Blizzard got rid of Ghost, which I thought was a huge loss in my opinion. I was so excited.
Ghost?
Yeah, it was. You play the role of Kerrigan in like a first person shooter style, like walking through like levels as like Kerrigan, being able to like stealth your way through with like going invisible and. It was a project that was a long time ago, and then they just
20 years of that remake.
Yeah,
classic mode. I would be down for a classic server on 14.
Doing like a 1.0.
No 2.0. I'm good. Wow. I don't need 1.0. I'm good.
I want it for the story.
Good.
I mean,
I got YouTube for that. I don't need to freaking stand to cast as a freaking melee.
Okay. How
a range melee?
Well, like from what I remember, like because of the way the movement was, there was a whole fight where you just you ran on top of like this like hill and you just like stood there, and then when a mechanic went off, you'd ran down the hill and then you ran back up the hill, and that was the whole fight.
I don't know. The story
what
that
about
I have
the possibility?
The story I have from 1.0 is when they were shutting down the servers and everybody. I don't know if anybody else played 1.0 or knows about this, but they lined up there and they make reference of this in the game. the Gubu wall at Ul'dah. I had a friend who was part of that wall. When they were shutting down the servers, because they basically, like, it wasn't just like a flick the switch, shut down the servers. They went in and they killed every player. They had they had enemies go in and try to kill every player, and so they were actually fighting.
Enemies could actually enter into towns as well. Like there wasn't like
they were just spawning them in there. Yeah.
You couldn't outrun enemies into sanctuaries, and the guards fight it off or whatever. Yeah. No, they kept going.
Okay, what about hardcore servers? Just saying. Imagine you get through, like, you're in Shadowbringers or Stormblood, and then you die to, like, you fuck up a duty. Go back to AR. Go back to AR.
Yeah, start over again. No death servers. That would be interesting.
Do hardcore and then go do a savage with a door boss.
Think about what kind of good content that would be. From the streaming side of things. Like, so you're telling me, like, these guys are crazy enough to go risk their characters doing a savage raid? Oh my god!
I do T13 hardcore. Hell yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
make a new character once a week.
I'd like to see more crossovers with oddball things. So they had, like, the Yokai Watch event. I think it'd be cool to do more stuff like that, where they brought like other, like, just things that had nothing to do with Final Fantasy, and did, like, a crossover event with them.
I mean, we got
7.
Okay, we get it. You want 7? I got it.
It's a Square title, and we already have a lot of gear that's in the same, like, fashion vein, but, like, the world ends with you. They can pull that in.
Cool.
A lot of the newer fashion is
so many zippers, not belts.
Just more zippers.
No belts, just zippers.
Lulu dress when all belts.
Only belts.
See, I think World Ends With You would be a little bit more of a, like, possibility than, like, Kingdom Hearts, because I think they have, like, the exclusive rights to do that. Although a Kingdom Hearts one would be really cool. I already have made comparisons to, like, the Sin Eaters to Nobodies. They look very Nobody-esque.
I remember that. That was an interesting.
But the Void Sins are heartless. I mean, that actually makes sense.
No, not heartless. Nobody's. Oh no, I guess the
Void Sin would be heartless.
Yeah. Good one. That would be.
And
good.
Alex, on, like, the Raid series being a crossover from a different franchise, I mean, Nier is still Business Unit 3, and I mean I like Nier, so I need to go back to the Nier raids and get all the glam.
The what raids?
The
what raids?
No raids to speak of.
Wait, so did CBU3 do Nier? They made Nier?
Yeah, they did Nier Automata.
Oh, I didn't know they did that one too.
Yeah, Business Unit 3 did Nier Automata. Yeah, it was cool. The producer or director was Soren, I think is his name.
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say Sokon, but that's the music director.
Yeah,
I'll say that one. That's the wrong one.
Yeah.
Smash Bros.
Anybody else have anybody? No,
Smash
not
Bros.
Get out of here. Get out of here with your Smash Bros. It's never gonna happen. Sony already tried to do their battle royale and it flopped.
Everyone tried to do their Smash.
Sora is awful. In Smash. We just gotta get Ishtola in there.
Big angry.
Okay.
Big angry about that.
No, Thancred, dude. Daddy Thancred. He's got his, like, Gunbreaker forms. Different stances. You could do, like, his
Thancred.
ninja.
You're on that Daddy Thancred arc now.
Well, if you want to do that, just make it Meteor, and then he can just swap classes. You got different skins. You got Dragoon Meteor. You got Monk Meteor.
I think there's a lot of different crossover things that you can do with, like, such a long form thing like 14. They already have done Monster Hunter. They've already done Nier. They've done other Final Fantasy games. I mean, who knows? It's going to be like Fortnite. We're going to see Master Chief and Thanos fighting. And then, no, I mean,
Resident Evil. That would be
Ooh,
No.
that would be a good.
I would be down for a Resident Evil crossover.
Man, you're asking Kojima to not Kojima. What is it?
Kojima's not Capcom right now.
Capcom and Square to work together. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
I can see it. They might work together. They could.
Imagine having crafting ammo like back in what LK, or having to farm materia to cast magic. Ugh. Like couldn't cast magic unless you had it bound to your weapon for a certain number of times.
Let's spice up PvP in 14 and add a battle royale mode. That's what everyone's wanting, obviously.
Keep Fortnite out of Final Fantasy. Hashtag
exactly, yes.
Fortnite out.
Battle Royale, you have to go and find materia to slot it into your armor.
On the subject of the
I was just kidding, but you're giving them ammo.
Blue Mage Battle Royale mode. That would actually be pretty cool.
You find spells.
Yeah.
You can swap them.
Yep. Okay, so on the subject of Fall Guys, do you guys think that when they take, because they've said that the Fall Guys will be like a revolving door event, right? They're gonna take it off for a couple months and then bring it back. Do you think that the months that they take it off, they're gonna be developing new stages, or do you think they're just gonna turn it back on with the stages that we have?
New stage, give everybody rescue as a duty action.
Oh, that would be better than grab. That would be better than grab, and just make it like some like ridiculous cooldown time, and that would be fun. That would be fun.
Can I give a hot take here? I don't care for the Fall Guys event.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's bad. I think it's like it's a neat idea, but like especially with the rampant cheating.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. That was one of our discussions last week about the people who were like glitching up and then floating around all the stuff and then landing on the crown.
Imagine streamers doing that too. Oh my gosh. I can think of a couple who might have gotten that title very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Almost sus quickly.
I know some people. I know
Free has
people
it.
That are
Free actually did his completely legit. He was doing it every day for 6 to 8 hours a day. He was streaming and got it.
Free is like an actual Fall Guys
god. He's a Fall Guys god.
Streamer. Yeah. Free does it legit for sure. Like, cause that's what, like, I remember like when I first heard about Free, like he was
small. Square is just a small indie. Square is just a small indie company. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Small indie. Yeah. But yeah, like, I don't know. I just think it's kind of whatever. It's fine, I guess. It's another crossover game. That's fine. I don't think we're going to see another crossover game for a while though. Like in that way. Like, when was the last like outside Final Fantasy crossover game event?
Yokai Watch.
Well, Yokai Watch was before the Monster Hunter one. I don't know if they brought it back. But Yokai Watch was in Heaven's Word.
Yeah, and then they brought it back for Stormblood.
Yeah, but Monster Hunter was in Stormblood.
Yeah. So either or of those could be considered.
So Monster Hunter. So it's been since Stormblood.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll see you guys in like 4 years.
I mean, yeah. There's another crossover, but we can't talk about it.
Yeah, on the titles thing, the one thing I know, I have someone that's pretty frequent in my chat who like one of the main things they do in the game. They're just an achievement hunter. They want to get all the achievements in the game, and they're pissed at the the Fall Guys event because of the way they've locked out it like behind like 100 wins, and then there's like a small thing of like playing enough times. They wish it was like swapped.
Right.
Like the harder achievement was just playing it enough.
But anyways, has anybody else have anything new that they would like to have added to the game other than Final Fantasy VII stuff?
Final Fantasy X stuff. Let's switch it up.
10's already in the game.
Give me a Sin raid. No, get out of here with that stuff. It's not in the game enough. Okay, and I'm not going to touch. We're not going to touch on what 10 has in the game because reasons. But I want more. I'm mad about the 10 they added in.
okay, get this right. Final Fantasy VII Advent Children content. Okay.
You already got the
Rebirth.
motorcycle. What do you want?
Okay. Remake and Rebirth. FF7 content, please. No.
A Unalesca raid. That's not bad.
I think some 16 stuff. Honestly, 16 stuff, like more 16 stuff, especially since they did it. I feel like we could see like that Ifrit fight. Like there's some of those, like I don't want to talk too much about spoilers of 16 for those who don't have a PS5 to play it, but the Ifrit Garuda fight in 16. Oh
yeah.
That was
I would be cool with doing some like pixel remastered fights that come back, like where they make them into the game. That would be kind of cool. Where they bring like I think the problem though is like they want to use that stuff as like trial content, or like when they did I can't even talk about that. We'll have you back again so we could talk about all the spoilers at the end of your EW, and we might have you back before that, but the EW stuff for sure we'll have you back for, because there's a lot of stuff in EW that would have pertained to when they did that in EW. But for those who know, they know. Like they want to be able to reuse that content as new bosses. I mean, there's a few that I could. There's 3 or 4 from EW specifically that I could bring up because it was a big deal. The hot take that I have from the other hot take that I have from the FanFest that they had talked about, which I'm not a fan. This probably would go under the like I don't want it to come into the game. They talked about creating like an emulation station within the game to be able to play the old Final Fantasies within Final Fantasy XIV, and I'm like, why? Like I mean, I guess that there's some like it's like have a pixel remastered option in the toolbox that you could play through, but I'm like, they had talked about then paying for the game again through the MOG station, so you'd own it in like how many different formats. Like every Final Fantasy, here, hot tip for you guys, every Final Fantasy game from 1 to 9 is available on mobile devices. You can play them on tablets, you can play them on consoles, you can play them everywhere.
That's how I played 3.
Is no reason to have them in Final Fantasy 14. You can play 10-2 on Switch, 10 and 10-2 on Switch. There's no reason for them to be anywhere else. Like, they've remastered these games enough that it's just like it doesn't matter. Like, you don't need them inside Final Fantasy 14 to play. It's just not. This is gonna go down as I don't want it.
We need to do a full. I agree. Full Bethesda route, and we got to put all the Final Fantasies on Alexa.
On Alexa, no.
Do you guys remember that when they put Skyrim on it?
No. That's crazy.
They had a whole it was Keegan Michael Key, I think is who it was.
Yeah.
Did a commercial for it, and he was like talking to it, and he's just like, I eat the cheese. I eat all the cheese.
Yeah. How many cheese wheels can I buy? Really? Okay. I eat all the cheese.
I think the coolest thing from back in my day, I'm gonna date myself because it's just the way this is gonna be.
I played one.
Y'all remember the old iPods with the spin wheel?
Oh yeah.
Did any of your friends ever jailbreak those and put Doom on them?
Oh yeah. No, I didn't have Doom. I actually had
I had Doom in my Mindcaster.
Or Duke Nukem, one of the two.
It was Duke Nukem. I'm more of a my first like boomer shooter was totally Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
Because someone said, yeah, there's aliens who are trying to abduct strippers. I was like, I need to play this shit. What?
The remake was so bad. The one they did for PS3 or whatever was so bad. The number of memes that they put in, like they had like the Master Chief armor up on the thing, and he was like, I don't need no stinking armor, and he just went off and was like,
power armor is for pussies.
Power armor is for pussies. Yeah, it was great.
I'm here to eat ass and chew bubblegum.
All out of bubblegum. Anyways, all right. New PvP game modes, like a tactic style. Yeah, that would be cool. I'd actually be okay with like, what's the other game series that Square owns the rights to? Not tactics. It's the more modern one where you're like, it's almost like you can run. You have a distance that you can run, and then you do an action afterwards. but it's in like that Final Fantasy style. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Somebody in chat's gonna get it. They're gonna shout it out. But it's like yeah, it's like that. It'd be like a tactic style where you can move a specific amount, almost like a Boulder Gate style movement.
Oh, okay.
But it would be like different zones that you could just like you could get into a battle with somebody and then do movement and then turns and then that'd be cool, like a turn-based like PvP style. That would be kind of interesting.
Here's something that I think could work, but I think it could work in not just 14, but like in a lot of games, is the possibility of like a MOBA style PvP game mode, like where you have everyone starts with nothing. Maybe like you select kind of the role you want. Yeah, you have minions. You slowly upgrade gear that gives you new abilities in your rotation, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think I thought Rival Wings was like kind of MOBA style. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. But like lean heavier into it, you know.
Well, isn't the minion mini game in the Gold Saucer? Isn't that like essentially just League but with minions?
Yeah, a lot less active League. Yeah. Just merge them. Boom.
Merge them all. Yeah, I think that would be kind of cool, doing like a MOBA style where it was like. You could is that Rival Wings? There is Rival. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check out Rival Wings. I haven't actually done a lot of Rival Wings.
I haven't done like any PvP.
Because one of them is like, isn't one of them a push the payload one, like Overwatch style? Mm-hmm. And then
that's CC, I think.
There's like
that's Conflict.
Yeah, and then there's the free for all, which is Frontlines, and then I guess Rival Wings is like MOBA-ish.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be I don't know. I think I've touched on a lot of the stuff that I think we've had a really good discussion today.
I think last thing, I think someone touched on this last time, but as an addition to the game, adding a simulation mode, so you can go into fights with no damage.
Yeah, do fights with no damage and be able to see mechanics, so you could get used to mechanics before you have to do them with actual. I think that would be something. So hot take. I want this feature, but I want it after the first couple weeks of Savage rating. Like I want it to be like a tiered thing. Let the world first do their thing, and they do their world first thing. Because I think this eliminates world first thing. Because then
it gives you even more prestige that way too. Then you guys we world firsted and we world firsted before.
Yeah.
The simulation was released. It gives even more prestige to it.
Maybe release the simulation. I don't know, like in the half patch. So like give it a couple months of people just being able to do it without it, and then
or when the 24 man comes out.
Or when the 24 man comes out, that'd be a perfect time for it as well.
Yeah.
Here's another thing I just kind of like thought of that pertains to just the moving forward, looking to Dawn Trail is I just realized like, so now they have the combat director of the Devil May Cry series who worked on 16 for its combat system.
Correct.
And I wonder if they're keeping him around to maybe do a little bit of work with like maybe the new classes, because Viper looks not only awesome, but also really involved and flashy and like kind of gave me some 16 vibes in the combat department. So I wonder if maybe we're going to start seeing more
Noble, like, there's a thing that is
there's a thing that's against terms of service.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't tell. But you have to be a PC player. So if you're a console player, then forget about it.
Yeah, you can have a friend that you, if you're friends with someone has a PC, then they can record your logs and then post them. And there's a website called FF Logs that like all the higher end raiders and use to like be able to tell how they're doing and stuff like that.
Just to be clear, we are in no way advising people to run ACT or like you do that at your own risk, because it is against terms of service.
Especially don't stream it, don't post about it, like that. You There have been actively you've seen raiders who have ACT on their screen while they're streaming actively get pulled out of a raid and dumped into
push
DM
an ad instead of snoozing it. That's still snoozed anyway.
I didn't.
But we can kind of chit chat for the next couple of minutes while this ad's pushing through. We won't close here. We'll
Fortnite doesn't have something like Riki. Yeah, okay.
So Wraith, what's your current opinion of the? I know you're a huge fan of the music. That's been a big piece for you.
Yes.
I know that you're a pretty good fan of the new characters. I know you have opinions on what particular characters are what.
Yeah, well, I think they really set it up pretty hardcore in like the finale of Stormblood. Like, hey, we're going to introduce this really crazy character, and also there's this other unknown character that is totally not tied to anything else that we just introduced. I mean, if you're talking about Solace, like, come on, it's pretty obvious like where that thread is leading, especially when they're just like, oh yeah, we just found out that the you know, there's certain tiers to the Asians, and at the very top is their leader, Emmett whatever, and also here's the creator, founder, and old emperor of the Garlean Empire. Oh no, who could they be?
Right.
I wonder. Yeah. So to me, it's like that was a pretty obvious thing. Like the MSQ gives pretty good hints, and I think I'm okay at picking them up at that point. But I feel like that was like a slap on the back of the head moment. Like, hey, come on, look at this, huh?
Yeah. You also
I'm not telling you, but I'm telling you
about sad Sephiroth and the curiosity of Count the Curiosity.
Oh,
good old lore master.
Yeah, he's never. I don't think that dude's ever going to touch a woman in his life. Yeah. at least the calamity's coming for him, right? At least he's going to see something cool.
That's right.
I like the characters so far in Shadowbringers. I think there's a certain like, why am I here? Kind of like a pause that's really weirdly abrupt. Like Stormblood is really the like this like crescendo of, okay, here's the set pieces of A Realm Reborn, with setting the stage, putting all the pieces on the board. Heaven's Word is like kind of fleshing out the world, making it more grounded and gritty, and having these like interpersonal conflicts that really build and strengthen the core characters that we know from Realm Reborn. And then here's Stormblood, where it's all coming together. Everything's like swelling, and you know, you get to that final fight at the very end on the battlefield with Xenos, and it's like, okay, now we're gonna go to another dimension, guys. See ya. Well, you know, this huge crazy conflict. Yeah. Hold on, we gotta deal with something in another dimension or whatever, the reflection. Yeah. So it's like it's a little bit of like a no, but I was in
these characters too.
Yeah.
I wasn't done there. Let's go back there. Hold on.
Yeah, I think
but
that's
at the same time,
I think it's good. I think that's good stuff. Good breath of fresh air. Gives you a second.
Yeah. It's a good time to reflect on that sort of stuff, and especially moving forward, I think it's going to be interesting where they go with it, because I think there's a lot of mystery. There wasn't a whole lot of mystery in Stormblood, but there's a lot of like mysteries to be uncovered and like more context to be filled out with Shadowbringers that I think, at least from like a streaming perspective, I'm excited to like really like get into and react to it.
There was a lot of like what I thought was interesting was there was the and Noble, I'm actually going to touch on your recount style system here in a second. I did see that, and I want to make sure that I touch on it here in a second. But
Noble said I liked him in Brita.
Yeah.
Fuck.
What was your take on the, I'm gonna call it the Umbrella Academy style time travel-esque type deal, where like people have been in the area for a little bit longer? Like what's your feel on that?
It's okay. We'll see how.
I wouldn't consider
we'll
it to
see
be
how,
time travel, right? Because it's kind of like some of them sort of time travel. I mean, it is, but it isn't, right?
Yeah, like it is. It's not time travel in the way that I think like that I would criticize, because usually my big thing with time travel is like the going back part of it. Like you could say in 15 there's time travel when Noctis goes into the crystal and then comes out and it's like 20 years later and he's like, oh shit, like there's so much that I've missed. Like that, like being thrown forward time travel, I'm cool with that. But like when it starts to like, yeah, we can go back and undo mistakes from our past, it's like that undercuts like the big moments, or has the potential to undercut big moments. With this, I think it's done well enough. If not, it rides that line of being potentially kind of cheap, where it's like, yeah, we wanted to like really speed up some progression with characters, so we just kind of threw them forward really fast. And then, but on the other hand, like if they go somewhere interesting with it, I don't think it really matters too much, because I at least like where the characters are at the current state. I finally
caught up to the reference. It took me a minute.
Titus and Sir Oren would like to have a word with you on that. The time travel. Noble, to touch.
I mean, like Final Fantasy X spoilers. It's a 20-year-old game, though. Wasn't time travel.
Wasn't time travel. But Noble, to touch on your subject, your piece of like being able to figure out a way. There is, and I actually remembered this during the quick ad break. There is a way that you can check your DPS. What you do is you go hit a sea stone sky dummy, and there'll be it'll be on a timer. It's generally like 3 minutes to kill whatever the boss is. When you finish killing that boss, at whatever time you have left on the ticker, you can go to an online website and say, I'm this class, I beat up this Skystone dummy, and I had this much time left, and it'll give you a rough estimation as to what your DPS is. It is not add-on based. It does not connect to the game in any way, shape, or form. It is its own separate website. Therefore, my understanding is that it does not violate terms of service, because it does not manipulate the game in any way.
Manipulating the game's bad. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. So there are ways to do it on console. I've done it that way before, where I've just checked my numbers based upon what's left. But yeah, if you search for like Skystone dummy calculator, it should pop up. It's like a black website, and you drop down to whichever dummy you kill, and it'll ask you for the info.
Don't know where you're at. I will say, if you've done any current Savage, more than likely go into FF logs and type in your character name, and someone you cleared with, especially you cleared in Party Finder, probably posted logs.
The Skystone dummies are good for checking your rotation before you go into the content, right? If you're hitting your mechanics aside, are you hitting your buttons correctly? Are you doing the maximum amount of damage you possibly can on your rotation? I find the Skystone dummies to be a good justification set for like, am I doing enough damage to get through this boss? That's what I use them for. But anyways, all right. So we are going to wrap up for tonight. Wraith, thank you so much for coming tonight. This was so much fun.
Yeah, it was great. I had a great time. Thank you, guys.
We're definitely going to have you again and get a post EW reaction when you're done, and be able to get all the juicy gossip.